It's good to be back with you on YouTube. I'm Scoot, and welcome to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, the many of you who are new subscribers, thank you for becoming a subscriber. You know, we're just building this channel, and one day we're going to do special things for subscribers as soon as I can. And again, it's free. And when you become a subscriber, we give you a notice every time we do something. I am in my office at the radio station WWL in downtown New Orleans following Hurricane Ida. What a bitch. Right now, New Orleans is a dark shit show. I mean, there are no lights. At night, driving at night, I felt like I was in the movie The Purge, one of the Purge movies. It was just so eerie. You know, and there's no lights anywhere. No street lights. Just no lights on building. I mean, it's just dark. You really take for granted how illuminated the world is in the city, anyway. So, look, I'm alive. I'm good. The storm was just relentless. This was a storm that packed winds 150 miles an hour. And the city of New Orleans is without power. Many people in the city without water, and it's really a mess. A lot of people are totally devastated. I moved into a brand new apartment. You know, I moved out of downtown New Orleans, and many of you saw the video that I posted here about New Orleans has changed. That was all about my reason for moving out of downtown New Orleans. So I still live in New Orleans, but I live in an area called West End, which is right by Lake Pontchartrain. And I moved into my apartment Friday in the rain as Hurricane Ida was approaching. Everything was left in the apartment. I had to immediately pack up. I haven't spent one night in my new apartment yet. I had to pack up, and I now live in my office at the radio station. There's my bed. It's an inflatable bed that I'll, flop that down on the ground and sleep there. I've got my snacks. I love this. Now, I bought this a couple of years ago. When a hurricane was approaching. This was some of my non-perishable hurricane food. Starkist Chicken Creations Premium White Chicken Salad. So I bought this a couple of years ago. Now, the reason I still have this is because the food that you buy to survive a hurricane ain't the food you're going to eat. Even if the hurricane doesn't come, you're not going to necessarily eat the food. Although this is pretty tasty, especially right now. The expiration date on this is March 29th, 2023. This is still fresh as a daisy. So, God bless preservatives. We do have a lot of food here at the radio station. Basically, people are living in offices. I'm fortunate enough to have an office, and I'm, living in my office, and went out to my new apartment, and I was just so thankful that everything was intact, and there was no damage. So that's cool. Covering this, I'm doing 2 shifts a day on WWL radio, and this YouTube channel is an extension of my show where I can, talk a little bit more about a lot of different things. This storm was a frightening thing. It was predicted to be strong, and it was. What was not predicted is that the storm got to a point where it because of the steering conditions, it had to turn to the northeast. But it couldn't turn to the northeast at the speed that it was traveling. So it had to slow down to just a crawl and turn, and then just start to inch its way. That was the problem. Because the wind continued. Hours and hours and hours of just horrific winds, howling winds. People who rode this out, it had to be scary as shit. And so I'm living at the radio station because there's no electricity. I mean, I have no electricity, no power in my apartment. I have water, but no power. So I'm living down here. Plus, I'm doing 2 shifts a day. I'm on the air from 2 to 6. This is Central Time, 2 to 6 in the afternoon, and back on the air 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And that is Central Time. I tend to get a little philosophical in the overnight hours of 2 to 6, and I think about things like, you know, we've got all this high technology around us, but high technology can't stand up to nature. There are things in our lives that we can't control, like the weather. And this storm comes along, and if you don't have power, electricity, you're not going to have internet. I mean, there are a few situations where people do have internet, but you lose it all. There were people listening to my radio show on an old time transistor radio or an old lamp or something that had an old battery operated radio in it. And so that's what it comes down to sometimes. Sometimes we're robbed of technology. Think about how bad the pandemic was and how isolated you felt during the pandemic. Well, my God, at least you had entertainment. You had electricity. You had the internet, social media. You had all of that stuff. There are people without any of that now. And sometimes when you're stripped of everything, you really focus on yourself. In most of the challenges that we face in life, there is a gift for all of us. But it's up to us to find that gift. We may not know what the gift is at the time. I may not know what the gift is in this for me now, but there is a gift. So whether it's this challenge or another challenge, look for the gift that comes from that challenge. And maybe it's communicating with people that you'd never communicated with before. Neighbors are talking to each other when they usually don't. People are suddenly brought together as one. It's a concerted effort to not only survive this thing, but to come back. And it's a bitch, and it's hard, and it's hot as hell in New Orleans right now. And it's humid, it's miserable. And living without AC this time of year in New Orleans is torture. It's awful. So I'm blessed to be here at the radio station. There are a few people that have generators, but not that many. But I just can't help but think that when things are stripped away, we really start to realize the things that we took for granted. And it happened during the pandemic. It happened when we couldn't go anywhere. We had nothing. We couldn't do anything. And then we realized all the things that we took for granted. And now here in New Orleans and in Southeast Louisiana, and New Orleans was hit hard, some areas harder than other areas, but there are parts outside of New Orleans that were just devastated by this storm. And you're down to the basics. But we will survive it. I've been through hurricanes before, gone through this one. And after the hurricane is when the real challenge begins. But I just want you to know, if you have seen the video of the storm, if you watched the storm live, this was a bitch. I don't ever remember seeing winds that powerful. The rain wasn't falling. The rain was blowing horizontal with the wind. And one of the things that may have kept the city from flooding was the wind was so strong, it just kept sweeping the water. Unlike Katrina, the city is not underwater. But Katrina wasn't as big a problem as far as the wind is concerned. Ida will be, and the irony? Ida hit on the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, August the 29th. And a few years ago, there was another hurricane that hit August the 29th. Hurricane Isaac hit the New Orleans area then. I think we're going to have a different opinion of August the 29th, from now on, 3 hurricanes hitting on that day. So when we approach August the 29th next year, we're going to certainly be watching the tropics. And you know what? There's more out there. And we don't know. Maybe we'll get another one. I hope to God we don't, but maybe we will. Look, I'll be back with more fun soon. And again, I appreciate those of you who are new subscribers to the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. We're just building this, and I'm kind of in a crude environment, right now in my office doing this. But I'll be back with you, and you can go back and look at some of the videos that we've done, and some of them are interesting and entertaining. There are times that I talk about the truth behind the microphone. I tell you, how I see radio, how I see the media. And I'm very honest, and I don't always support the business that I'm part of. Sometimes I can be very, 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 very critical. And then there's things like my interview with Moody Blues icon, John Lodge. He was at his home in the UK, and I was at my apartment in downtown New Orleans, and we had a great conversation, and really a very interesting guy. There's some other interviews there as well. So, entertain yourself with some of the videos here on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel, and thank you for subscribing. Join me on my radio show. Usually it's Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 Central Time in the afternoon. And if you don't have it yet, download the app Audacy, AUDACY, and type in WWL. Or you can also go to the WWL website and stream the show live. But I'm on the air right now from 2 to 6 in the afternoon and 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. Have a peaceful night. And if you have air conditioning, don't you dare take it for granted.